Morning to everyone. Hope you're having a good day as always. Pleasant day here. Not rainy, not sunny, but nice temperature. So all is good. In our series, over the last couple of days, we've been looking at a story about a man whose son was very sick and about how he came to Jesus to have his son healed. And in the process of the story, the main point of the story wasn't about the son actually or about the healing. It was about what is the true nature of faith, because Jesus first rebukes the religious leaders and the crowd for a total lack of faith. He kind of rebukes the father because he had faith, but it really wasn't the kind that Jesus was looking for. We're looking at a moment uh, in a moment about that. And then finally, with his disciples, they ask, how come we couldn't throw out the demon in the boy? And Jesus rebukes them because he said that you had little faith and what you needed was a little faith, but the different kind of little faith that could have thrown him out. So today we're going to look at another story. It's similar in certain respects. It involves somebody that is deathly ill, just like the son. It involves somebody else coming to Jesus on their behalf, but after that, the story is completely different. It's just a completely different story. In the first story, the downfall for the father was when he came to Jesus and said, if you can heal my son. And Jesus took exception to that and said, what do you mean, if I can? And he rebuked the father. And the father's response was, Lord, I do believe, help me in my unbelief. A good response. Let's look at today's story. And the funny thing is, among other things, is it's not even going to involve a Jewish person. There's Jewish people in the story, and the New Testament, especially the Gospels, takes place in the context of the Jewish nation. But this was actually going to be a Roman who was living in Capernaum. He was a well thought of man. He was not mean to the people, but quite sympathetic to the people, as we're going to see in just a moment. And after he had finished all that he was saying, all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. Now a centurion had a servant who was sick and at the point of death, and who was highly valued by him. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent him elders of the Jews, asking him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they pleaded with him earnestly, saying, he is worthy to have you do this for him. They said that because normally a Jew of that day, a Jewish person of that day, would not have thought of a Gentile person, a non-Jewish person, as being worthy of God's favor, God's healing, and those things. But this particular man was quite different. He is worthy to have you do this for him. He loves our nation, and he is the one who built us our synagogue. And Jesus went with them. Sorry. When he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends, saying to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. I want you to hear the humility of what is going on there, because that's one of the keys to what does true little faith look like that can move mountains. This guy, as you're going to see in a moment, he has it right away. Therefore, I do not presume to come to you, but say the word and let your servant be healed. So this is an attitude of wanting the Lord to heal, believing the Lord can heal, but allowing for the possibility that the Lord may choose not to heal. He had a humble attitude in all this. He wasn't demanding of the Lord. He was asking of the Lord, believing that the Lord can. Remember, the Father's downfall was that he said, if you can. He wasn't sure if Jesus could do it. This man is sure Jesus can do it. Humility. Therefore, I do not presume to come to you, but say the word and let my servants be healed. And he gives an illustration to Jesus. For I too am a man set under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. And to my servants, I say, do this, and he does it. In other words, he believes that Jesus has the ultimate authority over spiritual things. So when Jesus says to a person, and not spiritual, but also the physical realm. So in the last story, if it was a demon that was involved, Jesus had all the authority from God the Father to cast out that demon. If it's the case of somebody with a physical problem, by the Spirit of God, he's able to do miraculous healings. He has the authority to do that. And this centurion, this non-Jewish man, a soldier, typically hated, but in this case, loved by the Jewish people, he had this really, I was going to say strong faith in Jesus. In a sense, he does. He's a strong faith because he has a good understanding. If you remember, we said that faith is actually belief and trust brought together. I believe certain things about God over here. Get it on the screen. I believe certain things about God over here, and I'm trusting God with my life over here, and I'm bringing these two things together. That's what you see going on. He believes Jesus can do it. He believes Jesus has the authority to do it. And in humility, he's bringing his need to Jesus and asking him to heal his servant. Jesus' response is this. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him and turning to the crowd that followed him and said, I tell you that not even in Israel, in all of Jesus's travels among the people of God, not even in Israel have I found such faith. And when those who had been sent returned to the house, they found the servant was healed and doing well. Jesus did not even need to go to the house in order to heal the servant. So, what are the lessons that we learn? The two parts. You have to believe the right things about God. You have to trust God for the right things. Trust does not say, I don't know if you can do it, but just in case you can do it, would you do this? No. Faith then says, I know you can do it, but I don't know if you will do it. I'm not even worthy of this prayer request that I'm bringing to you. But if you would, please do this. I'm asking you to do this. And notice all of that is wrapped up in prayer. We had looked at the disciples, and in the one passage telling the same story, Jesus said, the problem with you guys is you have little faith. And then in another book of the Bible, in Mark, I think it is, same exact story. It ends with Jesus not saying you have little faith. He's saying you did not pray about this. Those two things go together. So all of this comes together now. You don't need huge faith. What you need is a little bit of the right kind of faith in the right God. It is the person that you're trusting that brings the strength, the size of things to the situation. You don't need this much faith for a problem that big. You need this much faith in a God who is way bigger than your problem and asking him to take care of it. That's my word for the day. I hope that encourages your heart if you head into the weekend. And Lord willing, I look forward to being with you on Monday.